And welcome back to the OCS last game of the night. This is Max, Thor, Formal Von Neumann.
There we go.
Bryce, Each, and Paul. This is our desk once again. Legacy Genesis versus AVA is going to be the last match of the night. I feel like, in some weird way, we have been getting quicker and quicker as the day goes on. And certainly I think this is setting up to be a good one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we end on a high note, for sure. I'm not sure if the games have been faster. It's just there was, less sort of pauses and distractions. But, like, games have been going cleaner, I feel, as we've been going on. Teams seem to have a bit more idea of what they want to do.
Yeah.
Some unique strategies. And, yeah, let's end with something fun.
Question.
Yes.
Not about the game. Did you have a little bit of a spillage? A sip of water that went astray?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We're going to hide
Rookie.
that. Oh, there we
Rookie,
go.
that's why you wear dark clothes
Perfect.
on broadcast. I could spill whatever. I could literally just pour my water bottle down me, but nobody would know. That's
I don't think anyone actually saw it because where my hand was placed.
Yeah,
until you
that
pointed
was
it out.
strategic. Yeah, I saw it. That was the first thing I saw. I was like, oh no, you've had a disaster. But yeah, speaking about this game, Legacy Genesis coming through. We saw last week it was actually Paprise in the top lane, but of course he's played OPL. He's on the OPL roster, so we won't be seeing him. And I believe Appy coming through is going to be more of a permanent name on the roster, and we won't be seeing too much of Chungy anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm curious to see how Appy pulls for this game.
Yeah, I think we kind of like talked or like had the conversation around what kind of roster Legacy is. They like to flex in the solo lanes with Mugi, the Rise, the Yasuo, the blah, 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 doing all that sort of stuff. It's a hard roster to come in, like, fill that slot for Paprise. Of course, like, he just straight up outclassed his opponent, like, played very well, was booming people topside last week. But if Appy is more of a permanent fixture, what changes for Legacy? Do they still go for that sort of stuff? Like, what is his champion pool like? Does he share it with Mugi? And are they the same looking team? Or maybe there's something completely different?
I'm hoping they're the similar team because that definitely been one of Legacy's strengths. And it usually makes sense, to put people on your team who play to your current strengths, especially halfway through a season. So I would like to think that, but really only time is going to tell. And we'll see seeing how they play. The other thing I want to point out, we mentioned this earlier in the stream, was I believe it was Elo who ran that mid Yorick before?
Yorick, yeah.
Well, now he's in the jungle.
Yes. He, much like Bushy for Bombers, has kind of been plugging holes, much like Cadence. I think that for a lot of these players, there's like one guy per team that's like, okay, if we need a fill, like I can play that, like I can kind of play everything. Is top laner, has played a bunch of jungle, has played mid so far this season as well, and kind of has been filling all over the place. But as you mentioned, it's going to be rocking it in the jungle this game.
He is, and I hope he has a good performance. Maybe we'll see something fun similar to the Yorick mid. Some sort of weird off-meta jungler. I mean, we've seen an off-meta mid laner as well again today, so I want to keep this train going.
I think last time, if I remember correctly, he played Skarner, which is definitely not off-meta nor fun. Is kind of just the basic, like, oh, I'm an off-roll, like, give me a tank. Oh, they banned Sejuani, give me Skarner sort of thing. But certainly could be it. AV, I feel like, more so than a bunch of other teams, are someone that roster consistency hasn't really been there for. So certainly looking to lock that one down as time goes onwards.
Yeah, AV, they've struggled the past few weeks, and I feel like roster issues has been a serious contributor to that. They're definitely not running the roster that they initially wanted to start with at the start of the split. But, maybe they've found the hidden gem. This might be the team moving forward.
Potentially. Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see. Yeah, they've only picked up a single victory over the course of the game so far, and they have a hard couple of weeks. They've got Legacy, then followed by Mammoth and Bombers. So definitely don't think it's going to get any easier anytime soon. And also, they don't have bans. So
yeah, I was about to say, the 3 ban loss is definitely not going to be helping them in this one.
Let's go. Oh, no.
And on the red side as well, which means Legacy can pick any champion they want that first pick.
That's the roughie. Legacy kind of have all of their options up and available here. Sejuani is going to be the first ban. What do they pair with it? Time will tell, but as you mentioned, kind of get pick of the litter. Yeah,
Avant, like, there's backs against the wall, and then there's this. You're going up against a good team with no bans in a game you really can't afford to lose if you want to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, certainly the case. Needs to start here. Silence is going to be the other one to hit the bench. I can rattle them off again as I have every champion select, but is it going to be the Aatrox? I feel like that's most likely to be taken away. Yuumi?
I'm thinking Yuumi.
I feel like K-pop has a Yuumi answer. I feel like K-pop is happy to go down the train of, like, you play Yuumi, I play some other, like, hella long range Enchanter, Sona, Karma, Lulu, Zyra, blah, 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 Lux, all of that stuff. Sort of does fit his wheelhouse, so I would expect maybe not Yuumi, but I mean, they could just do it.
They could. I mean, Lux is one. Yep, Yuumi!
Sick. All right, I'm dumb. Sure, there it is.
Solo lane, Nocturne, Yuumi bans. We're going to ignore everything I said in the first half of this broadcast and just assume I'm a super genius now.
As soon as you spill water on yourself, all of a sudden you can think. That's a strategy right there. 10 seconds for AV to count down, and then Legacy kind of have their choice. I expect maybe a Ryze first pick here to go to Mugi. Has had a bunch of good performances, can be flexed, all of that sort of stuff. I feel like the big player on this lineup that we haven't mentioned as of yet, though, is Lisa. A bunch of Legacy's wins have come off the back of good performances from him, and that's actually going to be in Aurelia. Yeah, so it's going to be Aurelia, not Ryze. I, too, am a little bit surprised by that, if only because last time we saw a team in this situation, Ryze was the priority. Ryze this time will be going straight over to Avant, it appears. Yeah, haven't locked that one in, but certainly clicked it almost immediately. Time will tell should that be locked in. And now they're going to pair it with a bottom lane. A lot of teams have been going for like a straight up solo and like locking in a support, locking in an AD carry, a Zyra or something like that. Does Yuumi's... How close it zooms in on Yuumi when she's banned, does that disturb you as much as it disturbs me? Like, that is a super close-up. Is it like zoomed more than other splash arts? Yeah, well, look at it next to the Sylas and the Sejuani. Yeah, but that's just like how the picture of their splasher... Oh my god, hold on. Oh, okay. I'm not sold that Elo's playing jungle anymore. No. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I mean... It could just be like a top lane pick. They could just be like, okay, let's blind pick Yorick. Hell yeah. Who knows? Who knows? It also just could be a mid lane pick. It also could be a jungle pick. Who bloody knows? That's all it is. And there we go. I mean, there's the Skarner pickup. When you don't know what you're going into, take a nice safe tank. No Sejuani available. Next choice, Skarner. Yep, opts in for that one. And I'm honestly kind of surprised to see Lisa go that route. Someone I expect not to shy away from like the Lee Sin, the Elises of the world, but it is going to be paired with fairly standard AD carry in Sivir. I got kind of excited when they hovered the Kalista there. I'm like, oh damn, that's a baller choice. Like you can't even lock in your support with that or anything, but just going to go for a standard safe meta play here. Okay, I don't think we're going to be seeing Master Yi locked in. What I find interesting is I wonder if the Skarner pick was in reaction to Yorick, because you would think, as you were saying before, Lisa into someone who's not really a jungle main would like maybe go for one of those junglers you can you want like more of a skill matchup where you have like expression, you can like invade them early, maybe a Kindred, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you are right. Hops in for more of the teamfight heavy stuff. Lucian is going to be the answer to Sivir. It's one of those matchups that definitely favors the Lucian, but if you play it very well on the Sivir, it's not that bad. Spell shielding the Qs is definitely possible, and a bunch of his trade damage does come from that, and once you do get past first base, much like most Sivir matchups, kind of gets easier. Also, finally seeing the Lux banned away. I'm pretty sure that's been like 100% pick rate tonight, Lux. Yeah, I feel like maybe not in the first game, but then ever since, it's just been like Lux, 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 Lux. Kind of all over the place. A bunch of these teams kind of shooting her up in priority based on what we saw last week. Basically no Lux, I believe. Yeah, she just sort of has come out of nowhere, but won't be run by Legacy today. Nico and Braum also banned away. Get rid of the Braum Lucian. I really like that ban because that lane is terrifying. Makes a lot of sense. Do they pair it with something like a Thresh? Afraid of the more aggressive, the more engagey sort of bottom lanes that can be put together with a Lucian. Known for his level 2 spike. Yeah, it's... I mean, definitely within, you know, lower elo, like, that's an almost unkillable lane sometimes as well, the Braum Lucian. But nope, Aatrox will be the next ban. I believe he's been banned every single game today. No, we saw one Aatrox. We definitely haven't seen an Aatrox play. What? No, we didn't see an Aatrox today. We definitely saw them last week. Could have sworn we saw one Aatrox. Oh, well. I don't know, maybe you're right. I can't fact check, so I'll believe you. Actually, no, I won't. We didn't see an Aatrox today. Yeah, fair enough. Nautilus is going to be paired with a Lucian. That's a very scary bottom lane to go into. Once again, the Sivir has the extra safety somewhat, but certainly not an easy one to navigate. Styled and Relopal wanting that early aggression, wanting to get things happening in the early game before Legacy can come online. Wanting to kind of be the center point of this composition here for AV. We kind of talked about it before as answers to Yuumi. It's not going to be into the Yuumi, but Karma received some buffs recently. He's actually on 9.12, but certainly was playable before that point. We are at 9.11, so they haven't come into fruition, but Karma is definitely a K-pop champion.
Yeah, and that's definitely a very tough lane to kill, even with a Lucian Nautilus. It's going to be hard to really get in against a Karma Sivir because you have the spell shield protection, you have that movement speed as well, and Jace locked in.
Yeah, okay, so much more aggressive solo lanes here. Aurelia and Jace split between the two. Not sold on where they're going just yet, because we honestly don't know where the Yorick is going as of yet for AV. I expect it to most likely be a jungle lock-in for Elo now. As I say that, if that's Camille, like I'm not sold on if that's Camille, it's going to be going to the jungle. I expect maybe it's going to be Ryze mid, Camille top, and an actual Yorick in the jungle here for Elo.
It would make more sense, though, to have Camille in the jungle, no? Like, I understand what you're saying, and with what Avant's history, it could be that Yorick jungle, but, I mean, Elo is a top lane player, right? And Camille is a top laner, so...
So is Yorick?
Yes.
So your entire point kind of falls in on itself?
All right, what are the strengths of Yorick jungle?
Look, I have no idea.
Okay.
I feel like he's not going to clear too quickly. I mean, maybe with the Ghouls, he can kind of like move around the jungle very well, but certainly isn't the most mobile. Gank threat is definitely not something he has much of. But if Nautilus can lock someone down, maybe you can have enough time to kind of ring them in your Ghoulies.
I just feel like Yorick's specialty is that side lane pressure when you drop that maiden down there and you just shove it in, but you can't really do that from the jungle.
Well,
that said, Elo, he likes his Yorick. Yeah. He's taking it to the jungle.
I mean, you can definitely drop the maiden. You probably can't be the one to split push with her, but you can throw her into a side lane and make Tekka's life miserable as you get all the CS. But yeah, interesting to see where this one goes. A couple of the teams in the OCS, Order Academy, now AVA, throwing their hat in the ring. We saw last game as well with QUT. Happy to try interesting stuff. This is interesting nonetheless. Yorick in the jungle.
Yep.
He's got huge triceps.
He does. He lifts.
Yeah.
He lifts.
Pumping it.
What was the name of that like hyper caffeine drink we were talking about?
Oh, just pre-workout?
Yeah, just pre-workout. Do you think he hits that up?
Yeah, probably. It's probably all about 7 scoops of pre-workout.
Yeah, right before hitting the rift. Just gotta turn yourself on and ready to go. Especially if you're going out there dressed up like a cat.
Yeah, that's a skin and a half.
All right.
He runs. It's so funny. What is that?
Looks like, that starting workout starting to fade off a bit. Interesting setup for Legacy right now. 5 men in the bush, hoping to catch someone on an invade. I wanted them to see them be patient with this and wait for Styled or Relopal to sort of step in.
Yeah, Skarner Spires make the early game just that little bit more interesting. Both teams kind of want to get access to those ones. Helps out Lisa significantly in the jungle, but just as AV potentially went for a little bit of a face check, multiple members from Legacy do just back away from the bush. 3 of them still sticking around, though.
Yeah.
With the Ryze, they're going to look for this.
Styled is the target,
that's
but
a flash.
The damage isn't there yet.
Oh,
no, he's
not.
going to... Yeah, but he has to use his first ability on the E instead of the Q.
Yes, that's actually not the worst thing in the world, though. A bunch of Lucians were doing this intentionally a while ago. He kind of went through a couple of different stages where, I forget the player, potentially Teddy in the LCK started doing like the W start with Doran's Ring into Cassiopeia, which was last split, but Lucian has gone through a couple of evolutions where Q, yes, is the most obvious start, but E, when you press the attack, actually isn't a bad trading tool. You start with an auto attack, dash, double auto attack, and all of a sudden, now that you have pressed the attack procced, yes, you hit in the face with like a Sivir Ricochet or a Sivir Q or something, but your auto attacks just do significantly more damage than your opponent, so... Looks like a bit of a botch start there, but certainly not the worst thing in the world for Styled.
I mean, he gets to hold on to Flash, so it really... It could have gone a
better
lot worse for Styled. I also want to, give him some credit, too, for waiting until the situation arises before selecting his first summoner, kind of showcasing why it's always a good idea to wait. Don't just blindly click the same thing over and over again.
If you level your ability in the fountain, you're definitely trolling. Because who knows what your team's going to do level 1. You're that guy that, you're an Aurelia that could start E, and then you, level W in the fountain for some ungodly reason, and then your team invades, and they're all pinging your E button, and look, you didn't have it. It's always a bad time.
Can you ping the E button?
No, you can't.
Oh,
you also can't ping items anymore in 9.12. I'm not sure why. I accidentally last night built, what was it? I was playing Morgana, And of course, I took commencing stopwatch, and then I decided upon like my third base that I should buy a stopwatch, so I had two. And then I couldn't ping my team. Like, I couldn't ping my stopwatches because I wanted to make it known that I'm just a literal dumbass, and I just couldn't do it. It's not pingable anymore.
But could they ping your items though?
No,
could they still tell you? Okay, so no one can ping anyone's
Yeah,
items.
normally you can like ping items off the scoreboard, and you could also ping your items from your inventory, but it wouldn't let me.
Well, in that case, I guarantee you all your teammates were also trying to ping those stopwatches to tell you you are a literal dumbass. So no harm, no foul. Everyone knew what was up.
The point got across eventually in chat, so we definitely reached the end goal either way. Very nice trading here from Mugi on the top side. You kind of expect Jace early to be that big bully threat, and that is exactly how this is tracking, but the big downfalls of Jace really kind of do happen in between like the 5 to 8 minute mark. When people start hitting that level 6 mark and he gets ganked, plays a little bit too aggressive, and as soon as you go from I am absolutely dominating this lane to, oh, I screwed up once, lost my flash, and now I'm useless, that can be pretty jarring. So big pressure on Mugi as he's actually the one on the top side with Appy in the mid lane, so see where all these guys fanned out to.
I also really like the decision from Legacy to sort of try and opt for these hard-winning lanes, especially into a Yorick jungle, which might not have that stronger early game presence. It's really going to make Tekker's life even that much more difficult into that Jace.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. Like you saw Lisa, he tracked towards top side, is shepherding his top lane around, tried to look for a little bit of that vision, helps his mid lane get priority to opt in for a reset. And as we already mentioned, Yorick doesn't have the most gank threat, so if you can eliminate that in its entirety and just isolate the top matchup, as he's doing, certainly feels good for Legacy fans.
That said, though, he was able to get a full clear on the Yorick, so not the worst start at all, actually, for the champion. I think his strength is going to be much more when we hit level 6 and seeing how that Maiden is used. That's when I believe we'll start to see why it was selected.
Maybe it's like a baby crappy Rift Herald. You go and like spawn Julia in a lane, and it's just like, okay, guys, have a plate.
Yeah.
You just push it in, and then you get a plate. Maybe that's the genius.
But which lane are you going to be dropping that in, though? Like, which lane are you going to have such an advantage that you're going to be able to reach to that plate? Because, like, maybe the bot side against the Sivir Karma?
Aw, mid lane? I feel like as soon as you walk into mid lane as jungle, it's like they just have to concede. There's no, like, the lane is so short, you can just insta-clear the wave. You can look for things. You saw Lisa kind of do exactly that just before. Walked in mid lane, pushed out Kentai, and forced the reset there for Appy.
He did. And he's actually still sitting around mid lane as well. Lisa maybe trying to find a way in against that Kentai. Maybe it's because, you know, Legacy's just had the same conversation we had and recognizing that might be the point of focus for Elo, so they want to keep it as pushed up as possible.
Yeah, because you can see he hasn't even attempted any sort of ganks in lanes. He's just like, yes, I'm going to put my jungle on hard farm. If he can clear everything, went for the full clear first round and was looking for the second. That is a blast plant over the wall and is around behind the vision of Mugi. So maybe a little bit of danger here.
Oh, Mugi steps forward as well. Elo is going to try and do what he can, but doesn't connect with the first message. He still gets a flash out of Mugi.
This is the sand, lands the ring, and Mugi has to flash away from the Camille at the end of the day. So, first gank, very efficient there from Elo. Clears his camps, walks into a lane, gets a flash, and walks away immediately.
Yeah, so not the worst thing in the world at all for him. Lisa unable to sort of react in any other lanes as he happened to be top side as well at the time. So a little bit of tempo going for AVA's way. That said, the early gold advantages are going to Legacy much more because of their winning lanes, especially in that mid lane as well. A lot of that has to do with Lisa sort of always being around that area has enabled Appy to bully Kentai a bit.
I also think this bottom lane is fairly significant. It's heal versus TP, and Drakon has already used the TP to his advantage. They have a single plate. He went for the early buy with the pickaxe and able to deny another wave from Styled. So that's a greater than 10 CS lead here for the Sivir very early on. Sitting on a bunch of long swords, so a bunch of flat AD. Just wants to be starting to play that wave game like Sivir does. And the lead on the bottom side. It's nothing to scoff at here for Legacy. That's another flash in the mid lane from Lisa.
It is another flash, so Lisa, you know, I guess it's a delayed return flash. Oh, thanks for that, by the way, just throwing pens at me. But a bit of a return flash for Flash in the end. Not, I suppose, the worst, but like really that's just going to put Kentai, I believe, further and further behind in that mid lane.
Yeah, you can see Appy coming into the roster and already is like demanding jungle pressure. I feel like this is a guy who you can tell, not hearing comms, not seeing chat or anything, but he is very communicative because he's like, my wave is cooked, I need you to push this in. And you see Lisa immediately walks over, helps him push him in, he gets the reset. Round 2, he's like, okay, I can be so aggressive. Like if you get his flash, I can get the kill potential. Lisa just does the drive-by, pops the Predator, and immediately Kentai has to flash away from that one. So a lot of advantages there already in the mid lane for the Aurelia. Here's another game.
Drakon steps forward right now, but Elo is there for the gank. Both junglers actually going to try and help.
It.
Drakon is kind of caught in a bad situation, is forced to flash, and in the end, it will just be a flash.
Okay, that's 2 successful ganks for the Yorick in the early game. Only 8 minutes in, but both side lanes lost a flash right now.
Oh!
Here's an all-in.
Yeah, here's that all-in potential. He wants that kill. He might get it. Ignite is dropped, and Abby does so much work. First blood, Aurelia.
And exactly what I was saying. You get the flash and I can get the kill. Appy comes up with the goods there. Immediately starts that one off. No flash, no getting away from the stun. Easy cleanup, and Aurelia looking to pop off.
It's Tiamat versus Tyr in that situation, so the item's definitely in Appy's favor as well. That was the time to strike. Good communication leads to good plays. Legacy first on the board.
And no TP there from the Rise as well, of course. So CS lead is just about 30 in the mid lane after that kill. That sprung out of nowhere. Certainly isn't getting any easier.
Yeah, and for AVA, this is, a rough start, but it's not the end of the world just yet. I mean, they can still get the side lanes perhaps to go in their favor. Tekker has done a good job catching back up to Moogie after that sort of rough start. Still doesn't have flash available in the top side, but teleport is almost back, so at least there'll be a bit of something.
We didn't see how he actually burnt that flash, so it must have been the pressure from Moogie in the straight up 1v1, able to force that one out. Of course, Moogie lost his flash to Elo earlier, and has probably about another minute to revisit that lane before it is up and available. Opportunity for the Yorick to get on the board.
And on the upside of the map, the bot side, I mean, it still is Lucian Nautilus, so I still feel as if AVA can turn that side lane as well into their favor. So despite mid not going their way, still options for Avant Academy. That said, already 2K down at about 10 minutes. It's going to be a bit of an uphill climb.
Definitely agree with you there. 10 minutes on the cards, so Shelly now spawning, as both junglers are kind of on opposite sides of the map right now. Multiple pings on top of the Skarner. I thought Tekker knew where Lisa was, but no vision is around, so don't actually know. This is a weird interaction. Lisa thought they were on the other side of the wall, and Elo just walks around behind him.
Oh, Lisa, I'm not sure wants to really try and chase this Yorick down right now. I don't know. Elo is actually not doing that much damage against the Skarner.
Yeah, hits him with a ring. Didn't want to get impaled and brought back to the Aurelia, did Elo. So as soon as he sees Skarner, he's like, okay, throw some sand at your face and I will just walk away. As long as he's farming camps, he's fine, but this is bottom lane.
Yeah, Dragon's already super low, and Styles going to flash forward and get that kill. K-Pop trying to do what he can to push him away. Tower helping. Styles quite low. Minions are about to clash. There's no help coming, but teleport is available for Moogie. We might see something, but in the end, I believe K-Pop is just going to concede it.
Yeah, it does have an opportunity to TP if he wants, but the reset is going to come out of Style and Relopal, and a straight-up 2v2 kill. Very nicely played from the Lucian Nautilus. We mentioned it in Champ Select. They have the heal, they have the ignite, they have the ability to force these things. Spell Shield, unfortunately for Drakon, didn't block any of that CC, and he does just fall down, so I was complimenting K-Pop and Drakon's ability earlier to...
Predator. Predator was used, and Tekker is in a bit of
Stunned.
trouble. Oh, what? Hey, impale right there. Tekker won't be getting out of this one.
Rips him out of the dash, straight back to his death, and Moogie picks up the kill off the back end. 3 plates now gone for this topside turret. This Jace pick certainly working out.
As we're seeing, we saw Maiden dropped before in the jungle. It's going to be used to help secure a Cloud Drake, so giving away some top priority and a kill for a Cloud Drake, not always the best situation, especially when there is, that Rift Herald on the map. Lisa is going to be looking to secure it. No one from AVA around.
Yeah, timing possibly could not be worse. TP is going to get Tekker back to the lane as Lisa kind of just solos this one out as much as possible, but that's a very deep chase on the other side.
Meanwhile, though, Draken again kind of caught out. Elo actually getting a kill for AVA, and K-Pop not going to be able to get back to lane just now. We'll be able to see if Style can shove that in.
Back-to-back deaths here for the Sivir, unfortunately. We'll lose a bunch of plates. First brick is definitely in Legacy's hands if they do want it on the top side. But you can see Elo is just being so annoying, blocking K-Pop from getting back to lane, sitting in between the 2 turrets. And for a Yorick jungle, he has done so much for AVA in the first part of this game.
Yeah, it's definitely been a pleasant surprise for AVA. I think as well, because of that positioning from Elo, it really sort of didn't allow Drakon to actually teleport back into lane because he would have been separated from his support.
It's just a 3v1 and K-pop can't get in.
Yeah, so really good play from Elo right there. And the result is a lot of tower platings going AVA's way.
Yeah, when you are a tank support, you have the demolish procs and you get access to the turret. It does kind of die very quickly. You can see, just based on the scoreboard, the evolution of what's happened in the bottom side. It hasn't been that war of attrition, because Karma's still sitting on 4 biscuits, as is the Nautilus. It really was just the bottom lane of Legacy pushing in early, getting down that plate, and then a single fight turning this lane completely around. Gank gets Drakon, and then gank number 2 gets Drakon again. And unfortunately, their turret is almost gone to God. But top side of the map, Legacy certainly in a huge advantage right now. First item completed for the Jace, whereas Tiamat is the only component that Tekka has.
I'm just curious to see where AVA goes from here, I suppose, because they still need to possibly do something about Appy on this Aurelia. Starting to pull further and further away in that mid lane. You're seeing a near 40 CS differential right now, and it's probably only going to get worse, especially, you know, as Kentai doesn't have items. Yeah,
Kentai's not even on the board, right? No assist, no kill. 1,500, as you were saying, gold is the lead for the Aurelia.
It's worse in the top lane, actually. It's like nearly 2K as well for Tekka into Mugi. So Legacy definitely not in a bad situation at all. They have 2 solo lanes who are winning their lane quite handily, and I expect that to like potentially lead into further advantages. Right now, though, action happening on the bot side of the map. Elo is here to try and help defend this tower, but 4 members of Legacy Strongers doing so much work against it. Relobo trying to find a way in, but the Predator used by Lisa will help scare them off.
Yeah, this is a super weird situation. Tekka is now just left alone pushing top side. It almost seems like one of those situations where Legacy are like, yeah, okay, we broke top turret, let's flip the map. And Dracon's just like, no. I need some CS. I need my gold for my Essence Reaver. Please get me the first item. And kind of refuses to go up top side. Has the TP to get there now if he chooses, but he's still walking towards bottom side of the map.
Actually, it looks like he's walking towards mid side of the map where that last tower is standing for Legacy to take, at least tier 1 towers. So perhaps a bit of a siege might be set up there. A Vision's definitely more on Legacy's side as they have the bot half of the map pretty lit up, but nothing on the top side because there's no objectives there yet.
Yeah, that does mean Appy rotates over, cleans up the wave. Now he has a very long side lane to deal with, and that's probably Kentai's worst nightmare right now. Interested to see where AV put their lanes. Looks to be that Tekka drew the short straw, so he's the guy that has to go up against the Aurelia that is currently very large.
What happened into like lying in the bed that you made that we saw earlier today in a similar situation? It kind of seems just more just like lie in the bed or force top laner to lie in whatever bed gets made.
Whoever made the bed, it's theirs. Yeah,
it's top lanes now. That's kind of been a bit of a theme. And this
they
is
have TP. They do it to themselves. If you don't take TP, then you don't get the short end of the stick because you're the one that can help out. But
Kentai's TP is up. Tekker's isn't.
That is true. That is very true. Rift Herald. Yeah.
Rift Herald's going to be deployed in that mid lane. Legacy hoping to knock it down. They have everyone there as well. K-pop. Whoa. That actually might stop this in its entirety. AVA tried to react and maybe get that pick. They don't find it this time around. Ultimate had to be used by Dragon.
Yeah, that sucked to watch. That was a little bit of a misstep there. Didn't shield the damage and unfortunately cost him his flash. Oh, Lisa almost face checks multiple members, but now with a TP from Mugi means that multiple Legacy people are around. Infernal spawning in just about 10 seconds.
Yeah, the
way
how these teams are posturing, it definitely looks as if a fight may go down for this one. Flash is available right now across the board, so as well as ultimates. If this does happen, it could be very chaotic. Right now, it is Legacy with control of the pit. They're going to opt to start the Dragon, but here comes Relobo. He's got the vision on it. Will he try to force his way in? Elo's coming in as well, but he won't be able to get to the pit in time. It is secured by Legacy, and they want this fight. Flash is in across the board, and it's AVA's health bars that are diminishing right now. On the backside, Mugi and K-pop trying to chase out Taker, as Style is getting run back into the rest of AVA. This is going to be an ace potentially.
Yeah, 17 minutes into the game, Infernal Dragon. Tekka cops a shock blast, but will not lose his life. Appy and Lisa did so much work on the backside of AV. Two-man army cleans up absolutely everything. Mugi tasked with chasing the one remaining member of the AV squad as the rest of the team just shoves it up mid.
Yeah, let's get some towers as well. Stop the backs, even if it's only one. And Tekker walks right into Mugi. Wrong direction to go there, buddy. He will go down as the mid tower goes down as well.
Yeah, mid tower dead, red buff stolen, Raptor's gone as well. Legacy kind of walking away with everything after that fight here, and 2 minutes left on the Baron. The perfect time to be accruing this advantage. Jace, 4-0. Aurelia, 3-0. Karma just finished the Ardent Sensor. Most of the carries, I almost said all, but Drakon is definitely not in a good situation. But when you have an Aurelia and a Jace monstrously far ahead, certainly can be accounted for.
It can. And this game definitely feels like it's going a lot faster, perhaps, than some of our other games. Maybe, not really, actually. I'm thinking back now to how fast they had gone in the past. But that said, Legacy is definitely increasing the tempo of this one a bit more than the other teams with these similar advantages, at least today. They're also the only team to really have a lead, a significant lead, I feel, at this point. A lot of the other games have been closer.
Yeah, certainly have. Infernal kind of sparked everyone's interest, and the next one is going to spawn in 3 minutes. So we have a bunch of interesting dragons to end the day out here. You can see Legacy already. They don't have TP for their top laner, so they have a little bit of time. Mugi kind of just contesting briefly this wave on the bottom side, but the rest of the guys tasked with clearing out vision top side. They want to deny access for AV to the Baron pit. If you can't ever get to the pit, then you can't place any vision around it, and Baron becomes all that much more scary to deal with. Lisa gets his Spire in the face of Rilopal.
Yeah, he does, but I just feel as if AVA didn't really want to step forward into blind vision right there. They didn't know where the rest of Legacy was. And you take a look at the vision as well. Legacy did have that entire area lit up. So good defense from AVA, I suppose.
Yeah, it is a really tough ask for AVA to look for a fight right now. If you take a look at their item breakpoints, like Camille has nothing completed. Ryze, yes, has the Archangels, but he hasn't transformed. Lucian, known as like a mid-game AD carry, he gets to the 2 items. This isn't the Bork into the Black Cleaver. It's actually Bork into the Essence Reaver, so prioritizing that CDR. Potentially New Age Lucian build, given the Essence Reaver changes or regressions back to an earlier state, but they are just missing breakpoints on every single one of their members, and we're now 10 seconds away from Baron. This is Legacy at a huge spike right now on multiple members and a complete disparity across the board for AV. Yeah,
AV, you're going to have to play from behind. I mean, this gold differential is rapidly approaching that 10K mark. As you're mentioning, we're seeing that is best exemplified in the items. Something I'm kind of curious about is the jungle Yorick. Do you reckon Warrior would be the right go on that, or Cinderhulk? Because I don't know. I would have been more inclined to go Cinderhulk personally.
I probably expect Warrior, just because you're not going to be that tanky anyway, Cinderhulk, and you're not going to build more tankiness, right? I assume that Phage is going to turn into a Triforce, and then eventually, optimally, when you have double TP lanes, he can spend a fair bit of time in the side lane. So he is kind of like much more of, trying to think of a counterpart, maybe like much more of a Master Yi to a less extreme extent, right? If you try and force him into a tank position, he's then just like a Yorick that can throw some ghouls and doesn't deal damage, and that probably like,
doesn't work.
What does he do if he can't actually threaten anybody?
Okay, well then my counterpoint would be, if you're going to opt for that Trinity Force build, maybe not finish the Warrior chant and kind of just go the first component and then the Trinity Force.
Maybe. I feel like jungle items are super efficient, right? The stats they give.
Especially Warrior. Warrior is the most efficient.
Yeah, like the stats they give compared to just other normal items purchasable in League of Legends are super gross to allow the people to actually clear their jungle, so I expect the completion was probably the right call here for Milo.
Okay.
Oh, Appy.
Appy sets how to place it. Here comes AVA. Everyone's coming out. The depth charge holding him in place, and the shutdown going to style.
Yeah, super greedy play there from Appy on the Legacy roster. Burns the stun on the wave. The rest of his team reset and go towards bottom side. And AV, they find themselves access. It's a shutdown they desperately needed. And now, I said it before, they needed their breakpoints. It's the Essence Reaver completed. It's the Archangels now transformed into Seraphs. And on 20 seconds on a TP-less carry, this could be the Infernal Drake they needed.
It could be, but Legacy is kind of setting themselves up in a situation where they may try and contest this. Lisa's going to flash Impale onto Kentai, and that will be a kill secured. Culling coming down, not doing much of anything as Tekker tries to front line for AVA, but he's getting chunked so low. Lisa is in trouble as well. On the retreat, a good hook pulls Mugi in, but he's able to flash out. Doesn't matter as Drakon is able to get the kill onto Relopal, and with that defensive flashes, AVA running for their life. 2 killer kills going for Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy able to immediately equalize the 4 versus 5. The pick onto Kentai to start it off. He goes down, and 4 versus 4 is just enough to take down the kill. Yes, they lose the Infernal. AV able to lock that one up for themselves. But Mugi did so much work in that team fight. Ricochet hitting multiple members. Legacy now eyes on the Baron.
Yeah, this should be a Baron secured for Legacy right now, unless Elo opts for something crazy, but he is so far back there, and this Baron is going down far too quickly. Legacy get the first major objective, really, of this game.
Yeah, 5 buffs apiece. Appy back on the map with that one. Finishes his Sterax, and yeah, gold lead you mentioned earlier was about 6k, is rapidly approaching, as you said, that 10k mark. Just a little bit off so far, and Legacy, they have a bunch of options right now. They have a big Aurelia, a big Jace. They can go for the 1-3-1. They also have the Karma Skarner. They can force things with the Righteous Glory if they need to. Multiple speed boosts. They're actually from everywhere. Sivir ulti, Karma Shield, Righteous Glory, Predator. This genuinely could be the fastest Skarner you've ever seen in your damn life.
Jace's little...
Jace Gate?
Yeah, Jace Gate as well. Everyone can speed boost. I want to see it.
Appy is so lacking. Oh, he's got nothing. Everybody else has got something for Lisa. Aurelia's doing absolutely nothing.
I'm kicking myself for this one. What's the item that you take that like gives...
Shirelia's?
Yeah, let's just throw Shirelia's onto Abby just so he can fit in.
Yeah, just so he can...
Just so he can boost
be
this.
a part of the team.
Exactly. I want to see like Skarner do like the 3-second base-to-base dash. The kind of stuff you see in Earth.
Yeah, we have like a Zillion, that's or like a Rammus or something
yeah,
like
the
that.
Rammus.
Yeah, you kind of zoom around. But Legacy, as we mentioned, not opting in for the 1-3-1, actually a 4-1. They leave Tekker alone in the bottom lane, but actually opts in for the reset, not willing to hard commit to the side lane push. Doesn't want to be late to a fight with the channeling of TP. Wants to be there early to try and defend their base.
I mean, you kind of feel like you have to when you have Baron-empowered minions knocking on your door. It's so risky against the speed of Legacy to get caught out. The ulti was used by Drakon, but they're unable to find anything just yet. Again, trying to separate AVA. They're sort of pressuring 2 towers at once. They finally crack the base open in the mid lane. The inhibitor may be the next target. If AVA does not want to fight, the Minion goes down quite quickly, and Inhib goes as well.
Yeah, double booster used on the Hunt and Righteous Glory. All of them popped. Predator almost back off cooldown, and Lisa doesn't have flash, so getting on to the carries of AVA is actually a significantly difficult task. But mid lane broken. Skarner now looking for a deep flank through the base.
Yeah, Skarner is going to be trying to find his way there. Predator's about to come off. Does he instantly use it? No, because he gets jumped on, actually. AVA burst Lisa down. Culling doing his job to try and force Abby back, and he doesn't get the kill, so Abby goes down. And with that, Legacy have to retreat.
And Relopal through the base gate actually gets a hook. Drakon in danger. Flashes burnt there from Kenta to try and lock him down, but Legacy... a little bit of over-aggression there.
Yeah.
Lisa steps way too far forward, sitting in the base with no members of his team around. Appy tried to save him, but all it cost him was his own life and summoners. So base, yes, did get broken, but Legacy certainly looking for more, not able to quite find it.
Yeah, this is not the worst situation for Legacy. I feel as if they weren't by being able to break the base, Legacy still should be able to maintain control of this game despite losing a couple members. But definitely not the kind of situation that you want to have when you're against a team that is this far behind you.
Yeah, it certainly is. 8,000 gold is the lead now. Baron a fair ways away, 2.5 minutes, so Legacy have a lot of thinking to do before that point. Do they want to actually pressure the last remaining non-base turret on the bottom side? You can see assist me pings underneath that turret, probably from Kentai. Knows exactly what's going on right now, as Legacy are actually setting up on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, might as well. There's only one more tier 2 tower left, and that is that bot side one, and everyone's sort of rushing there. Kentai's in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and Realm Warp. Impale not used to hold him in place, so Kentai is going to be able to escape.
Barely on cooldown is the Impale. Just came up milliseconds after the Rise goes through the portal, so opportunity somewhat missed there, unfortunately. Cooldowns didn't align. QSS, of course, is there for the Rise, but The Impale definitely would have cancelled the Realm War.
Yeah, that said, though, that just means Impale could be used later, and as a result, AVA really don't feel like they can step into what Legacy is doing already. The tower's down. The inhib might go next, but that damage pops the GA off of Mugi, and all of a sudden, everyone's in a lot of trouble. Dragon, though, in the backline is untouched and just doing so much work with auto after auto. Everyone on AVA is getting blitzed down. The inhibitor will be next. And with 3 members down, it's up to Tekker and Kentai to save this game.
Yeah, and that could be the game there. Double inhib broken. Drakon out of nowhere dishing out the damage, but Legacy onto the Nexus.
Tekker steps forward, but gets stunned for his trouble. Lisa was trying to get in there and maybe bring him down. A early stopwatch is used as down go those Nexus towers. Only that remains. Tekker trying to make the miracle play. Health bars are low, but not low enough. Kentai is on his own. He won't save this one. Legacy win it in under 30 minutes. Finally for today.
Yeah, maybe the quickest game of the day with Legacy in very convincing fashion. Bringing in a new member, Chungi not on the lineup, Appy coming in, actually still flipping with Mugi to the mid lane, and that Aurelia, very solid performance.
Exactly. Like, this was one of the things we were questioning coming into this one. Like, are they still going to be able to switch and flop and put players where they need to be?
Switch and flop.
And yeah, Appy goes to mid, so it's proof. This is another person who fits with what this team wants to do.
Yeah, certainly looks like they can retain their sort of style, and the solo lane is really where that game was won. Mugi on the Jace was like 5-0 for the majority of that game. Got a lot of work done into Tekker's Camille early. The Aurelia into the Rise. Those matchups certainly went hard in favor of Legacy, and they were able to close that one out. Of course, that was last game of the day. We will take a look at the results from the games we did see earlier. Briefly bring those up into your screen. Dire Cubs being handed their first loss of the season as Mammoth take that first place out now and have the head-to-head over their opponents. Their first game of the day. Bombers Academy took down Order. Mprox took a victory over the still winless UTS Esports, unfortunately sitting at 0-7 so far. Chiefs Academy got the victory over UQ Union. Gravitas looking like a little bit of a return to form here, took down the Tigers, and then Legacy Genesis took that last game over AVA Academy.
Yeah, I mean, that first game feels so long ago. Like, game timers definitely have been getting longer and longer as the OCS has progressed. And I find that interesting because, as I said, like, in theory, you would expect it to be shorter as teams, you know, get more comfortable with each other and learn how to close out games. But instead, we're seeing more and more late-game competitive game. It's interesting.
Interesting. Bunch of changes on the ladder as we will actually pull that one up on your screen. Of course, as I just alluded to, Mammoth now taking the first spot at the top of this one. Dire Cubs sitting in second. Then you have a bunch of people with 5 wins and 2 losses. Gravitas, Legacy, Chiefs, and Mprox all sitting in that bracket. And then you have the bottom half of the ladder. Bombers now down there 4-3. 2-5 in the hands of the Tigers and Order Academy. Avant and UQ Union still sitting on only a single victory. And sadly, still at the bottom, UTS winless at 0-7.
It's interesting to see Bombers Academy at 4-3 just out of that playoff threshold. Normally you would think, you know, if it's split, you know, 6 teams in, 6 teams out, if you're above 500, you should be in. But at this stage right now, because of how top-heavy and sort of bottom-heavy this bracket is, maybe going 6-5 isn't enough. Really, 7 wins seems to be that safe spot, and no team is there yet.
And there is that kind of just like big chunk, right? Like the top 6 currently is made up of like first place, second place, and a bunch of teams fighting for third. They're all sitting at 4-2 or 5-2 rather, but we will take a look at the games we have for you next week. Will be same time, same place. UTS versus the Tigers, so a bottom of the table clash there. Mammoth Top Dogs take on AV Academy. Dire Cubs versus Chiefs, and what should be a very good one. Excited for that. UQ Union versus Mprox. Order Academy versus team that just won in Legacy Genesis. And then Bombers versus Gravitas, so a bunch of actually interesting games here. Top of the table clashes. Dire Cubs, Chiefs, and Bombers versus Gravitas. I feel like a bunch of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and those top of the table clashes are what's going to be determining the seeding when we come playoff time. So they're really quite important, actually. Not to mention a couple more opportunities for teams to maybe get that cheeky little upset, which might, you know, be what separates that 7th place from that 6th place team.
Yeah, starting to get interesting as we are heading into the spicy end of the split. Only 4 more weeks left, but that, of course, is going to be all from us here today. This has been Max. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, EGM. Same time, same place. OPL is tomorrow. We'll see you there. See you later.